Good morning, everybody. Hopefully you had a wonderful weekend. I got a lot of various stuff that I think you'll find entertaining here today, so let's go ahead. The first thing is 56 firms hit for fund overcharges. And the big thing I wanted you to take from this, $89 million in customer restitution. The big thing I want to take from this, though, is what the regulator said is that firms should not put fund prospectuses on the shelf without fully grasping their compensation details. So what do you think that little phrase or little idea means? Firms should not put fund prospectuses on the shelf without fully grasping their compensation details. What's that telling you? How many advisors know what's in the prospectus? That's what it's telling you. And then the next thing here, regulators are telling advisors and brokers to read prospectuses regularly and understand them. So again, are we the guys in white knights that we actually go through and help people understand the fees that they're paying? How many people actually understand the fees they're paying when you do a 21-point checklist? How many people have said, "Oh yeah, no, I know that." Yeah, none, exactly, none. So you guys are the knights in shining armor when you're doing a 21-point checklist. So last week's 5Q tape breakdown, listen to about a minute of an advisor getting the client to say, any advisor doesn't make sure a power of attorney is working bad. She does some things really well, and then there's room for improvement on others. So make sure you're listening to those things, and not only that, then using them for 15-minute drills so you can get better and not make the same mistakes that the other advisors are making. So let's learn from other people's mistakes. Fear of missing out. Fear of missing out. So what are we talking about here? We're talking about, excuse me, the fact that when is a good time to pull out of the market and move to an FIA? If the market's way up, is that a good time? So, wow, I'm getting yeses, nos, and maybes. So Jeff, is when the market's way up, is that a good time to get out of the market?
No, I think people think, no, why would I want to get out?
No, now I'm not talking about people. I'm not talking about people. Is when the market's up a good time to get out of the market? Talking about, does it make sense to get out of the market when the market's up?
No. I mean,
you're crazy. Guys, now, Bernard Baruch, one of the richest guys ever to walk this earth, guess what he said? Nobody ever became rich by getting out at the top of the market. What did he mean by that? And I get what Jeff's saying. He says people don't think that's the right time to get out of the market, but is when the market high a time to get out of the market? Guys, you want to get out at the bottom? When's the best time to get out of the market? When the market's high. When the market's high. Okay, how about when the market's down? Is that a good time to get out of the market? And move to an FIA. Okay. David's got it. Phil's got it. Yeah, everybody's starting. Yeah, because when the market's down, it's the time to get out and move to an FIA. Why? Because do we ever know when the market's hit bottom? No, that's the right time. How about when the market's volatile? Is that a good time to get out of the market? Yes. But people won't move because they have a fear of missing out. What if the market went a little higher? What if the market went a little higher? So let's talk about that. So timing your move into FIAs. Let's do a little bear experiment. Let's do some hypothetical comparisons. On one side, we'll place $100,000 in the S&P 500 index with reinvested dividends. So we're even going to say there's reinvested dividends but no fees of any kind. On the other, we'll place $100,000 in a fixed index annuity into credit interest to gain on S&P 500 without reinvested dividends, and we'll place a 5% cap on the annual interest. And this is from the Index Compendium, which I love. He does great work. So if you don't subscribe to that, you should get that. But he's not using like we use our participation. He's using a 5% cap instead of a participation rate. But 5% is not is that a high cap, guys? No. So we'll use a 5-year period because FIAs are available with where the money is available without surrender penalties after 5 years. To make this easy to check the data, we'll use calendar years. So if your crystal ball was working perfectly, the crash of '08, if your crystal ball was working perfectly, you would have gotten out of the market at the end of 2007, right? You would have timed it perfectly, gotten out at the very top. Well, let's see how that ended up. So if you got out at the very top, okay, if you'd stayed in, you would have watched $100,000 drop to $62,000 1 year later. However, if you'd stayed the course and watched your investment rebound due to 3 years strong double-digit returns, it would have went to 108. So if you'd stayed in, boom, 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 and then it would have come back to 108. So here's getting out. You go, oh, shoot. Well, I think we're at the market top, so I'm going to put it into FIA with a 5% cap. And you would have been at 115. So if you called it perfectly, was that a good time to get out on FIA? If you called it perfectly, was that a great time to get out of the market and get into an FIA? Yeah. Okay, let's say that you got out a year too early and you switched to an FIA at the end of 2006. So you got out a year too early and missed that next good year of returns. So $100,000 placed in an FIA would have been worth 114, and the S&P 500 would have been worth 98. So we got out a year too early. Let's see here, 2006. Yeah, I got out a year too early. And we would have been at 114 with the FIA. And I you can't really see this with the green, but there's so many lines going on here. See the dash, long dash, dash, long dash. So you missed out a little bit of the return there, but you would have went down and been at 108 versus 115. Now, so getting out a year early, was that an okay thing to do with the FIA? Oh, sorry. Yeah, thank you. 98. Ron pointed out. So Ron pointed out that it was 98, not 114. So it would have been 198 versus 114. Whoa, that's really a good thing to do. Okay, what if you got out 2 years too early? 2 years too early. You really blew. Got out 2 years too early. Well, with the FIA, you'd have been at 119, and with the market, boom, you're like, oh, I was so stupid for getting out early. No, you weren't. So you're at 119 versus 111. So getting out too early, is that the right time to, was that an okay thing? Which one won? And we talked about this before. We don't know when the market's going to go, but do you really think since we've already are at record territory for growth in the market without the correction, the correction being 20% or more, do you really think we're going to go another 2 years without a correction? Does anybody on this call think we're going to go another 2 years without a correction? My God, I've got some swamp land in Florida to sell you if you think we're going to go 2 years without a correction. Okay, so getting out early, is that an okay thing to do? Or should we wait to get out at the bottom? Oh, we should lock it in here, shouldn't we? Okay, how about the millennial bear? How about if the 2000 crash? Same thing. So, oh my God, I got out way too early. I got out in 1997, 3 years too early. I missed out on all of this. Oh my gosh. Well, who would have been better off? 110 versus 97. Oh, I got out 2 years early. Boom. 110 there for the FIA versus 97. Oh, I got out a year too early. Well, or no, I guess I got out at the wrong time. So you see, no matter what, when's a good time to be to pull the money out, especially at this late game. Now, I get it. If we're down 50% in the market, guess what I'm probably going to do? Put money into an FIA? Probably still, because I don't know if it could get down further. But I sure the heck, if I had a choice of putting money into an FIA now or putting an FIA in when the market's down 50%, which one would I choose? Now or when the market's down 50%? Ron's got it. Hick's got it. Till's got it. Yeah, Daniel's gave me the both. Or Ron gave me the best answer, both. But yeah, if I had to choose between now putting the money into an FIA or when the market's down 50%, putting money into an FIA, I would put more into it right now because of both of these scenarios I just proved to you. If it's down 50%, I know it's probably not going to go down another 50%. But right now, we know the market's going to correct in the next couple of years. if not 2 months from now, or 6 months from now, or a year from now. We don't know, but within 2 years, we've already set record territory for the market. So the reason I'm showing you this is don't. Well, somebody tell me what I'm trying to show with these two graphs. What are we trying to show? Yeah, and then Ron points out the bond market right now is that we should be moving all the bond money over right now. Yeah, you can't time the market. FIAs are never going to hurt you. Don't worry about the fear of missing out. Nobody can time the market and get out at the best time. So right now is the time to be moving money into FIAs. Mark sent me this article about speaking of bonds. So this is a bonds buy and hold. Bonds have traditionally been thought boy, my mouth's not working. Bonds have traditionally been thought of as so safe that many financial professionals took them a look at them during a time when investors need safety the most, their retirement. Younger, more conservative investors planning for retirement are often placed in a portfolio of 60-40 blend that consists of 60 stocks, 40 bonds. Bonds are placed to add safety while contributing to the overall portfolio returns. However, when evaluating the true risk of bonds, safety is the last word that comes to mind in current market environment. So is that something that we just say at 5Q, or is that a fact? I mean, Proactive Advisor magazine, they're not pro insurance, they're pro stocks. So a history of interest rates. Over the past few decades, bond markets have been arguably the greatest bull run in history. Interest rates on 10-year bonds have fallen from a high of 15.84% in 81 to 1.46 in July of 2016. So look at that. Boom. That was the high, and we've been going down ever since. We went, isn't that interesting? So what did we have to do before we got to the high? We went from low up to high, and now we went from high down to low, and then guess what the next round is? For the next 15, 20 years, most likely. From low to below zero, or from low to high again? Yeah, bounce on the bottom, exactly right. So because bonds have historically been shown to produce lower returns, inflation has a larger effect on bonds in comparison to stocks. Including inflation, did you hear that? Inflation has a larger effect on bonds in comparison to stocks. Why might there be inflation going forward, guys? Why might there be inflation going forward? What's our debt in this? Yes, very good, Ben. National debt. We're going to have to print money. National debt is higher than it's ever been. I mean, a little higher, or like ungodly higher than it's ever been before. And what's the number one debt that or payment that the government has to pay every year? Where's most of that money going? Social Security and entitlements, right, Ron? Social Security and Medicare. And those are what? Fat with cash? So we've already got more debt than we've ever had before, and we got more debt every single year than we've ever had before, and we have the biggest expense suck of the U.S. government going broke. You really think that we're not going to see inflation going forward? I'm not talking about next month. I'm talking about over the next 10 years when we really start to see Social Security and Medicare, the problems start to bubble up. So 1 in 4 retirees at 65 will live beyond 90. The time horizon is much longer than most retirees think. This means that retired investors will need to sustain a large return to outpace inflation and replace withdrawals from the retirement accounts. Bonds will likely be a poor solution to this dilemma moving forward. Guess what a great solution to that dilemma going forward is? Yeah, FIAs. That's right, FIAs. So diversification. So we're going to talk about diversification. What's the best? When we use the don't put all your eggs in one basket. But if there's a big bump like inflation, what's that going to do to all the eggs in the basket? Yeah, it doesn't matter because all the eggs are going to break. So the way I talk to clients about diversification is this. Do I really want something that's going to go down? I'm sorry, so when something goes down, then something else will go up. Is that really the best diversification? When something goes, if part of your portfolio goes down, some of it will go up. Is that the best kind of diversification? Yeah, no, it's not. What's the best kind of diversification? When something else goes down, guess what? Something does not go down. That's right, Tom. And with our methodology, what does not go down? The FIA. The best diversification is when something else is going down, I have something else that'll never go down. It only goes up, never goes down. That's the best diversification you could ever have. Not something that can go down like bonds. Okay? So let's talk. The main topic of this call is saving the deal. So we got 3 places that we have to save the deal. First meeting, second meeting, and after the third meeting. So let's talk about how we save the deal at the agreement meeting. So 100% of people will want you to move forward if you go through the goal scripts correctly. Because what we're doing is we're creating an insatiable curiosity about about things that they want. And we're getting their commitment about why they want to move forward. We're getting the commitment about why they want to move forward. So in the goals, we will need to be asking these questions. Goal number 1, a scale of 1 to 5, how important is it to pass inheritance along to your kids? We don't get a huge number 5s there. Maybe you do. If you get a number 5 there, terrific, sell some life insurance. But we don't get a lot of number 5s there on a scale of 1 to 5. But here we do. So how important is it, without changing any of your current investments, without changing a single current investment you have, if I could show you a way to create more income, have less chance of running out of money, and pay less taxes. See, there's actually 11 different drawdown methods. Drawdown is a fancy term for saying 11 different ways or methods that you could choose to draw the money out of your retirement account. Without changing any of your investments, we're just going to use a different method of which to pull the money out of your account. There's 11 different ways we can do that. And if you choose the right way, what will work best for you may not be the best for your neighbor. But we can put your current investments through an analysis to find out which of those 11 ways are going to be the best, so you can pull out the most income with the less chance of running out of money and allow you to pay the least amount of taxes on a scale of 1 to 5. Guys that have done this script, on a scale of 1 to 5, what does everybody say? 5 being the most, I got to see that right now, and 1 being I never need to, I don't really care about that. Yeah, everybody says 5. So now for whatever reason they came in, we now have another 5. So now we have 2 reasons why they came in. And then we say, now, that's here. Now, if I could, there's been 3 giants in this industry that discovered or stumbled on a new method. So it's method number 12 here in the past 3 years. And they all were doing separate research, but they all stumbled on this method at the same time, which would actually increase your income by 25 to 100%. Now think about this. If we increase your income from 25 to 100%, should that raise the chances of running out of money or lower the chances of running out of money, logically? If we're increasing your income by 25 to almost doubling it, should that logically raise the chance of running out of money or lower it? Guys, if I'm pulling out more money, am I more likely to run out of money or not run out of money? Yeah, I'm more likely to run out of money. I'm getting lowers. Guys, if I've got $100,000 and I'm pulling out $10,000 instead of $5,000, should my chance of running out of money go up or go down? If I'm pulling out more money, should my chance of running out of money go up or go down? Yeah, it should go up. So what these 3 giants in our industry have done is they figured out there's a way to actually pull out more money while decreasing the chance of running out of money. So it's allowing you to have a higher income with less chance of running out of money. On a scale of 1 to 5, where would you be on that? And guys that have asked that question, where are they in that? A 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5? Yeah, 5s. So now they came in to see us for 1 thing. Now we've got them up to 3 things. An extra number 1 or an extra number 2, so that along with the current thing or the thing they came in for is 3 things that they want, number 5s. And then this one, you may assets protected from losses. Are you looking for the thing that'll give you the highest rate of return regardless of the risk, the lowest rate of return with no risk, or the highest rate of return with the least amount of risk? Do you want me to run an analysis to find you and again, this is probably the weakest of the goals besides the inheritance. But the guys that have asked this question, how often do people give you 5s on this? Pretty often or not very often? Getting the highest rate of return with least amount of risk. Everybody's saying always. Now this one, again, how much of your IRA, if you make withdrawals on your IRA or your retirement accounts, your 401k or your IRA, what percentage of that is going to be taxable? How much of that is going to be taxable when you pull money out of retirement accounts? Yeah, all of it. So if I could show you a way to reduce the tax you pay on those withdrawals by 70%, would you be interested in looking at that on a scale of 1 to 5? And what do they all say to that? 5. And now in your non-retirement dollars, would you be interested, right now you're in the 25% tax bracket, would you be interested in looking at a technique that would bring you down to just the 1% tax bracket? Where would you be on a scale of 1 to 5? Everybody says a 5. And then now you said before when we were getting a little bit of information about your current situation, you did not have long-term care insurance, and I agree, I don't have it too because it's doggone expensive. But have you looked at the program that will give you 2 years of long-term care coverage without expensive annual premiums? No, I haven't. Well, on a scale of 1 to 5, would you want me to run a quick analysis on that for you and show you how that program works? Yeah, everybody says a 5 on that. And then, you said you wanted more income up there, and we're going to be able to draw more income out of your retirement by doing that analysis and looking at those 11 or with the new one, the 12 methodologies to pull money out of your current investments. But have you looked at the program that's going to replace your spouse's Social Security when they pass away and you lose their Social Security check? Have you looked at that program? No, I have not. On a scale of 1 to 5, where would you be? Again, 5s. So how many people, if you do these goal questions, will want to move from the agreement meeting and show up for the second meeting? Everybody answer that. All of them. That's all. So if all of them are, if you're not having everybody move from a number 1 to a number 2, what do you need to do? Yeah, call me or call Jeff so we can figure out what is going on. Because if somebody doesn't, now, am I talking about 1 out of 100 not moving forward? No, I'm talking about what? I mean, you can always have that 1 out of 100, but if you got 2 or 3 people out of 10 not moving forward, is that a problem? Yes, that's a problem. Make sense? And then obviously we're going to get them with a close. We're going to do this close. So we're going to say, so why is this a good thing to go through this whole process now? I mean, what good could come from it? We're going to tap into greed, and then we're going to say, what could happen if we waited 6 months, take a look at this, and somebody passed away? We wouldn't get, we'd lose their Social Security check or whatever. So we're going to tap into the fear, and then we're going to go through the frustration to lock them in, okay? So if you're not getting 100% to move from number 1 to number 2, you need to call Jeff or call me so we can figure out what is going on. Because how easy should it be to get people to go from number 1 first meeting to the second meeting? Of all the meetings we have, yes, that should be a layup. So if you're having problems with that, let's talk right away, because we cannot afford to lose anybody on that because it's so doggone easy. Make sense? So don't call us if you have one person not move forward. But if you have more than one person not move forward from number 1 to number 2, you need to get a hold of Jeff or myself, okay? Now, what if you make that mistake, that one that you made a mistake on? How can you get those back in? Well, what you want to do is immediately send out our epidemic marketing. Instead of the normal little story about yourself, you want to handwrite, not type, not print, handwrite a note here. Hey, I was sending this out to my current client, so I thought I would pop one in the mail for you too. Hope you enjoy. Boom. So why are we sending this out immediately to and in fact, what I would do myself is would I wait until they don't show up for the second meeting, or would I just send this to everybody to help prevent anybody not showing up for the second meeting? Yeah, I would send it out right away. Exactly right. I would send it right away to prevent anybody not showing up. Because what is this newsletter telling them? What is this newsletter about? Or more importantly, what is this newsletter not about? Yeah, it's not about money. It is about how much I care. Absolutely right. So it's, again, validating in their mind that I'm not just about getting at their money. I'm about helping them. So now if they don't show up, you can send, on the next one, you say, hey, we were scheduled to meet and something must have come up for you. We didn't get together. No worries. I was sending this out to my current clients, so I thought I would pop one in the mail for you. Hope you enjoy. Give me some a call and to speak about or have questions. So this is what you want to send out if they don't show up. Make sense? So especially you could do this if they didn't show up for the first meeting, because we'd want to send out this one right after the first meeting. We'll send out this one if they don't show up for the meeting. Is that too confusing? Do you understand what I'm saying? I'm not going to send one of these out before the meeting. I'm going to send, but if after the meeting, I'm going to send this one out. But I will send it out if I have them, if they don't show up for the first meeting. Okay? Because what that's so, and again, what we're telling them here is, hey, I know that you made an appointment because you had a question. I'm a good guy. I'm not about the money. I actually send out things that are helpful. Because with this, what are we also sending out along with the keeping in touch? What are we also selling out with everyday marketing? What else are we sending out besides keeping in touch? The free stuff, right? The free stuff. We're going to send out the free checklist, which is a helpful tool for them, whether they use it or not, and we're going to send out the memory lane. So what we're tapping into is three things. We gave them something of information they can actually use, and then we gave them a tool they could actually use with the free checklist, and then we gave them that totally non-financial thing that's fun, because everybody loves reading down memory lane. It's a fun thing to read. So we've given them three different ways to show them that we're different from everybody else out there. Okay, now at the checklist meeting, at the 21-point checklist meeting, the advisorectomy, we should get 100% of them to move forward. If we do what? We should get 100% of them to move forward from after the number 2 or after the disclosure or advisorectomy meeting, 21-point checklist meeting. If we do what? Yeah, everybody's saying follow the script correctly, and motive, that's good. And how do we know if we've done the script correctly? Why do I have 5 minutes up here? How do I know listening to a tape whether I've done the script correctly or not? What am I listening to in that 5 minutes? Getting lots of good answers. Now but the ones I'm looking for, I've got a couple of, okay, some of you gotten a couple of the things that I'm looking for. During the 5-minute test, I'm going to listen to a tape. So I'll take, I'll go 12 minutes in, I'll listen from 12 minutes to 17 minutes, or I'll go 24 minutes and listen from 24 to 29 minutes. And I have a pencil and a paper. So I got two right. I got lots of good answers, and you're all right. Every answer I got was right, but the one I'm looking for, I've only gotten a couple of times, and that is that I'm looking for how many open-ended questions during that 5 minutes. And how many am I looking for? Minimal. 2 a minute, right, 2 minutes. I'm looking for 2 times 5 is 10. I'm listening for 10 open-ended questions. If I hear 10 open-ended questions, I know I did the script correctly. If I don't hear 2 per minute or 10 open-ended questions during that 5 minutes, I know I did not do it correctly. That means I'm in danger of not having them not come back. Why is that the test? Because if they tell me during a 90-minute meeting, twice a minute, sometimes in little ways, sometimes in big ways, that their guy is taking advantage of them, that means that 180 times, 200 times they've told me their guy is taking advantage of them. What is somebody going to do if they tell you 200 times in an hour and a half to 2 hours that their guy is taking advantage of them? What is that person going to do? Show up or not show up on the next meeting? Yeah, they're going to move. They're going to move. But if because you're new in the system or because you're having an off day, you didn't do the script right, keep calm and let's try to save the sale. Okay, so if they don't show up after the disclosure meeting, I want to stay with my, or if they say I want to stay with my guy after the disclosure meeting. Either way, we made a mistake there, right? So let's talk about this one first. So I want to stay with my guy at the end of the disclosure meeting. We're going to get on their side about why that makes sense. And then we're going to do the third-party story about property casualty insurance. Does everybody know that, or does anybody on the call not know the property casualty story if they say they want to stay with their guy? If you don't know the story, give me an N on your conversation. Phil said he's used it and it works. So we got a lot of people saying no. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and do it. So what I do is when they say that they want to stay with their guy. So Jeff, can I get you to role play with me?
Yep, I'm here.
Okay, super. So no, Jeff, it makes total sense to stay with the guy. I mean, you've been with him for 7 years.
Yep.
You know, and with 7 years, I mean, do you communicate well with him?
Yeah, I think we do.
I would hope after 7. Yeah. And are you comfortable with them? I mean, you've gotten to know each other. So, I mean, when it comes to something as important as money or medicine, does it make sense to stick with somebody that we know and that we trust?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, it does. And I totally get that. You know, and I'll give you an example of that. You know those car commercials, you know, Progressive or whatever, e-insurance, they always say, hey, we can save you $400 on insurance. You ever see those things?
Mm-hmm. Yep, I've seen them.
How often do you send in for them?
I don't.
I don't either, but it was one rainy afternoon. My wife was gone. I thought, heck, I don't have anything to do. I'll go ahead and try. So I sent it in, and guess what I found out?
You could probably
They actually could save me. Yeah, not even a little, $800. Is that a little or is that significant for the exact same insurance?
I think it's pretty good.
Yeah, so I went ahead and changed. I mean, $800, and so I went ahead and changed. And I mean, do you think I'm stupid for doing that, or do you think that that's an okay thing to do if I find out that that's the case?
No, if you can get it for less, you should.
Yeah, I did. So I go ahead and change it. We're all happy, and then because I looked and they said, hey, the same customer service. I mean, they were 5-star for customer service. If you ever have a problem, blah blah blah. So I thought, hey, save money, great customer service, might as well. So I changed it, and then of course, as soon as I change it, I get a phone call. Want to guess who that phone call is from?
It's probably from your old agent.
Yeah, and guess what he said? Oh, why'd you change it, Mike? And I said, well, because I've been charged $800. And magically, guess what he said he could do for me?
No, probably match it.
He said he could match it. And I said, okay, you're going to match it? That's terrific. I've been paying you this for 10 years. So all I ask is, Mr. Property Cash Agent, 800 times 10 is what?
8,000.
So why don't you send me a check for 8,000 that I've overpaid for 10 years, and then I'll go ahead and move my insurance back to you. Guess what he told me?
I'm sure he said he couldn't do it.
He didn't. But am I being unfair? If he's been overcharging me for 10 years, am I being unfair to say, hey, listen, dude, you've been overcharging me for 10 years. You want my business back? You should do what?
You should make it up to me.
Yeah. So do you think I moved back to him?
No.
And why didn't I?
Well, because if he really wanted your business, he would have given you lower rates all along the way.
Because he's my car insurance advisor. Should I have to do the homework of finding cheaper rates, or should he do that for me?
No, he should do that.
And if I did move it back, what would I be thinking constantly?
Well, could I get
every time I wrote that check?
Really, is this really the best I can do?
That's exactly what I'm thinking. And when we looked at your situation, Jeff, we found you're paying $7,600 a year too much in taxes, and you've been with him for 7 years. So what's 7 times 7?
49.
So $49,000 is what you've overpaid for the last 7 years. So when if you move the money and he wants to keep the money, what should we ask him to do?
Pay us back the $49,000.
And if he doesn't want to do that, then what are we thinking?
Yeah, then.
No, that's of course. If you love the guy and you think he's worth $49,000, then guess what? You should do that. Is that where you're at with him?
No, not at all.
So I get that you want to stay with them, but do you want to stay with them? Do you want to stay with them if he won't pay you back the $49,000?
No. No, he should.
Well, because what will you be thinking constantly?
Well, are we overpaying in taxes still?
Yeah. So you've already, and not even in taxes, because if it was just taxes, we didn't even include taxes. This is what?
Just
This is money, this is fees, and where do fees go? Right directly to where?
Right to him.
Yeah. So he's overcharged you how much in the last 7 years?
49,000.
And remember, we're down, we're rounding down, because it was actually not 7,000 too much a year, but 7,600 too much a year. So $49,000, but we could say, you know what? That's $49,000. You know what? He's worth it. He's a great guy, and we could just let him have that, and say we'll just go from board, and we'll start with a clean slate. He'll probably say, "Promise, I'll promise. Stick a needle in my eye, cross my heart, hope to die. I'll never do that again." But what are you going to be thinking every single year?
Is he still overcharging us?
That's what you'd be thinking, because we caught him once. Because is he just like my property tax agent? He's your advisor. Who should be trying to figure out the best deal for you? Should you have to catch somebody, or should they be actually out looking for the best deal for you?
No, they should be out looking.
And what's happened with your current advisor?
Well, he's not doing anything. He's just collecting the fees.
Yeah. So you caught him, but was that your job?
No, that's not my job.
You hired him to do what?
To get us the best deal, to lower the best investments at the best rate.
Has that happened?
No.
So what do you think you should do?
Well, we should probably move on.
Probably?
No, we should move on.
And why? I mean, if you stayed with him, what would you be thinking? Maybe not you, but how about you, Martha? What would you be thinking continually?
Well, then he's continuing to overcharge us.
Yeah. Because the only thing that, if the way we work with our advisors is they take advantage of it until we catch them, is that a great advisor?
No, that's not a good advisor at all.
So what should we do?
Yeah, we should move.
Now, guys, the reason that will work is because did Jeff tell me that I should move from my property casualty agent? Yeah. He said, how stupid would it be for me to stick with my property casualty agent if he overcharged me? See, that's with all the scripts. You start out with a third party. Because was I talking about Jeff's property casualty agent or mine? Was I talking about Jeff's money or mine? Was I talking about Jeff's relationship or mine? See, Jeff can give me good advice when it's mine. But if I go right after him and say, well, geez, he's been overcharging for $49,000. If that's the first thing I did, Jeff could have a knee-jerk reaction. But because I did the third party where he said, yeah, naturally anybody would not go back to that property casualty guy, guess what he's just locked himself into? But he's told me that me or anybody else would be foolish to go back to the property casualty guy. Guess what he just locked himself into? That mentality. And just that mentality for just property casualty, or that mentality for any advisor? Any advisor. But you got to start out with a third party, because he'll fight you if you go right after his relationship. Instead, you have to go after your own relationship first and let him tell you that you'd be silly to go back to that PNC guy. I always start with third parties first. Does that make sense? And then the other thing we need to do is make sure we do a 21 review. Did you know these things were happening to you? And what we constantly, this is the actual third-party story. You review the 21, what will you be constantly thinking? Is that fair to you if you're constantly thinking of that? So on the surface, it makes sense to say, but should we do things right the first time, or should we do right things only when we get caught? First time or only when we get caught? What is everybody going to say? Do things right the first time. That's good. Now, if they still desert you, after the 21-point checklist, they give you all of the right answers at the 21-point checklist, or you think they do. Now you go back to the tape, you find out they didn't. But if you think they do, but they kind of ghost you, we have to live to fight another day. So what we're going to do is we're going to call them up and say, listen, apparently I haven't heard from you. You missed your next appointment. You haven't gotten back to me. Please, we're going to fall on the moral responsibility explanation of why they need to come back. So I'm going to say, call them up and say, you missed the appointment. I've been trying to get a hold of you. Hope you're all right. Hope something bad hasn't happened. Please do get back to me, though, regardless of whether you want to move forward or not. As a fiduciary, as a responsibility, once I open up some of these cans of worms and have showed you that these things, some of these things are wrong, I have a responsibility. I can't close out your case until you come in. So regardless of whether you want to do anything else with me, at least let's come in and get this Social Security problem fixed, or at least come in and let's get the quality of life, whatever. I'm going to choose whatever things seem to have the most teeth to them, the thing they got most excited about. I'm going to use that as the reason for them to come in. So I say, so if I did a good job of the Social Security, they're going to, and power of attorney, then I'm going to say, so at least come in, let's take care of the Social Security thing. We can actually do it in about a half an hour, and then I can close your file and move forward and feel good about it. But once I've opened up these things, once I've opened the can of worms, I have a responsibility to at least close out that portion. Whether you move forward with me or not, once I've identified a problem like that, I have to move forward. And that's actually a requirement that I have to move forward and at least finish that thing off. Regardless of, you can do whatever else you want, but let's just come in for a half hour and take care of that one thing, and then we can shake hands, we can move forward. But I can't close your file until we get that power of attorney taken care of. So what am I doing there, guys? When I leave that message, what am I doing? Am I talking about money? Am I talking about an ongoing relationship? Or am I just saying, come in, short and done? Short and done. I'm just saying, come in for a half hour. Let's take care of this and we'll be done. Then we can shake hands. And I'm also saying, hey, if you don't call me, your file's open, which means what? If their file's open, what does that mean I'm going to continue to do? Yeah, I'm going to keep calling them. We keep bugging them. And I say, if you come in, take care of that one thing that you were hot and bothered about. And if it's if I've done a good job on the Social Security power of attorney, we'll just take care of that. That way we know that's done. I can close your file and we can shake hands. We can both move forward. So what I'm doing there is saying, if you don't get a hold of me, I'm going to keep bugging you. If instead we take care of that one thing that you were really concerned about, it's going to take a half an hour. Then we're going to close your file, shake hands, move forward. Guess what's more palatable to them? Me continuing to bother them, or them actually coming in for a half hour and taking care of that one thing that really bothered them to begin with? And then we can shake hands and move forward. Which is more palatable? Me continue to bother them, or them coming in for a half an hour taking care of that thing the half hour. The half hour. Does that make sense? So that's how you're going to deal with that. So then what happens if after the fixed index annuity or the implementation meeting they don't come back? Well, again, how many times in a 1 hour presentation should they tell me in their own words that the FI is better than what they're currently doing? In 60 minutes, how many times should they tell me? 120, that's right. 120 times in their own words that the FI is better than what they're currently doing. If you do that, 100% of people will move forward. But if they don't show, I made a mistake, I had a bad day, I had a migraine, wasn't on, and they don't show up after the FIA, what I have to do is call with this script. I have to call and tell them. You're going to notice that in this message that I'm going to leave, I'm going to say a phrase many, 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 many times. Okay? So I say, hey, this is Mike. You missed your appointment with me. I think that maybe what's happening, you've decided to leave the money where it's at. That's no problem. That's no problem because if you're happy with where the money, you're worked long and hard for it, keep that money where it's at. But if you can come in, we've talked about fixing those other things that had nothing to do with the money. Now I'm going to do a repeat of the same type of thing before, which I would say. But I have a fiduciary responsibility to take care of some of those other items that we talked about. The power of attorney so that it works with Social Security, getting you that quality of life directive. I also want to get you that property casualty checklist because you said that was something important. So leave the money where it's at, no problemo. If it's your money, but why don't we come in and at least take care of those other things? That way I can close the file, We can shake hands, move forward. That means you have a good, warm, fuzzy feeling about me. It means if somebody ever needs help, you can refer them to me. I feel good because now I've at least, after I've opened up those can of worms, closed the file, made sure you had that important information. So leave the money where it's at. No big deal. But at least, otherwise I'm going to have an uneasy feeling in my stomach if you don't come in and take care of those other things, simply because those problems are still floating out there. And guess who people will come back and ask for help after the fact? Me. And it's far easier for me to spend a half an hour with you, fix those things up front, than you calling me 6 months down the road and saying, hey, we should have done those things with you. We're sorry. Now we got all these problems. Can you help us? So I found it just easier to spend a half an hour, take care of them. We can shake hands, move forward, close your file. You got those things taken care of, and just leave the money where it's at. So what did I keep, besides telling them that I have a moral responsibility to finish those things, what else am I telling them over and over and over again? That's right, Bob. Leave the money, no problem. Leave the money, no problem. Leave the money, no problem. Because why are they not coming back? It's not that they don't want all those other things taken care of. Why don't they want to come back? They don't want to move the money. That's right. So by me saying leave the money, so then when they come in, I'm just going to fix one thing for them and then say, okay, we got that fixed. That's all the time I have today. If you want to get the other thing fixed, why don't you come back again? And do I mention the money at the end of that meeting when they come back? Do I mention the money? No. And guess what? 80% of the people at the end of that, when I fix that thing, are going to say, well, the reason we didn't move forward with the blah, blah, and then they give me the reason they didn't move forward, and then I'm going to get on their side and ask them questions until they move the money. But rarely we have to go to a second meeting. So you fix one thing, 80-90% of them will bring up the money. You don't bring it up, they'll bring up the money at the end where you got some, and then ask them open-ended questions or take care of their objection. If you have to go to the next meeting where you fix another one of their problems, everybody else that hasn't already told you about the money, they're going to tell you about the money. So does that make sense? That's how you'll handle it if they ghost you after the FIA. You leave a message saying over and over and over, keep the money where it's at. It's your money. That's your business. But I've got a responsibility to fix these other things, come in to fix these things. And you cannot tell them to leave the money enough. Does that make sense? Yeah, over and over again. So leave the money where it's at. But here's the biggest thing. Guess how much the year I made 667, the year I made 967, guess how many of those cases I tried to save? Guess how many cases I tried to save? Well, I got a not many, none. None is the answer. None. What did I do? When I had somebody ghost me, what did I do? I didn't move on. Nobody's getting it. I went back to the tape and listened to the tape to find out what I did wrong, so I would what? Not do it wrong again. That's what I did. I said, that's an expensive lesson. I just lost a $30,000 commission. Guess what I'm going to do? Try to fight to get that back and lose 9 times out of 10? No. Well, first of all, I didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now back then. But I wasn't going to get into push and pull. I just said, that's an expensive lesson. Maybe I should fix whatever the problem was so I don't lose another $30,000 on the next case. So I would go back and I would figure out what went wrong. Where did this thing go off the rails? And then work on that thing to make sure it never happened again. That's how I dealt with it. Because I thought trying to get them to push me, pull you with them made them uncomfortable, made me uncomfortable. And you know what? I'm not going to win very often anyways. So you know what I want to do? Make sure it never happens again. That's what I wanted to do. So when you've mastered the Cryptos Motive daily practice with your 15-minute drill and the GOTS and do your 5-minute money makers once a week, that's when you're going to close. And if you're not closing everybody, guys, if you're not closing everybody, what do you need to do? You've got Jeff and you've got me who are more than happy. The favorite part of my job is tape reviews. That's my favorite. Why do you think the favorite part of my job is tape reviews? Why is that the favorite thing that I do? It's the one time I'm guaranteed that I'm helping you get better at what you do. These calls, I'm hoping you're getting better. I'm hoping you're getting what I'm talking about, but there's no proof of that. But when I do a tape review with you, I actually get immediate feedback that you have those aha moments that say, aha, I see what went wrong there. Aha, that's what I can do to get better. Aha, I'm going to make sure that doesn't happen again. I love doing tape reviews because that's the one way I know that you're getting it. Does that make sense? Super. Well, appreciate you being on the call today. You have a wonderful rest of the week, and then we'll talk to you all next Monday. Thanks, everybody.